You won't believe what happens when a narcissist meets someone stronger. When a narcissist meets someone stronger, you can almost feel the tension in the air. It's as if two different worlds collide, each with its own set of rules and expectations. On one side, you have the narcissist, a person defined by a deep need for validation, admiration, and control. On the other side, you have someone who doesn't seek approval, who isn't intimidated, and who isn't afraid to challenge the narcissist's grip on the narrative. The dynamic is explosive, the stakes high, and the outcome uncertain. You might be wondering, what really happens when these two worlds collide? Imagine the scene. A person who's built their identity on being the center of attention, on manipulating those around them, faces someone who has no interest in playing their game. It's a psychological battle that can leave the narcissist reeling, confused, and even desperate. But it's not just about the narcissist's reaction. There's a surprising twist that we don't often talk about. The person who stands up to the narcissist also undergoes a transformation, often learning and growing through the process. Before we get deeper into the psychology of this encounter, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. If you find the discussion insightful, please like and share it with others who might benefit. Let's dive into one of the most fascinating, yet devastating, psychological dynamics that people often face. The narcissist's world, an illusion of control and perfection. To truly understand what happens when a narcissist meets someone stronger, it's essential to first understand the narcissist themselves. Narcissism isn't just about vanity or an exaggerated sense of self-importance. It's a deep-seated psychological condition, often stemming from fragile self-esteem. Narcissists crave admiration and validation from others because their internal sense of self-worth is tenuous and unstable. At its core, narcissism is driven by the need for control. The narcissist doesn't simply want admiration. They want to be the central figure in their environment. They want to be the one who calls the shots, who sets the tone, and who manipulates the people around them to meet their needs. Their self-esteem is so fragile that any perceived slight, whether it's criticism, disinterest, or rejection, can send them into a downward spiral. They view themselves as superior, often exaggerating their accomplishments or qualities in an attempt to maintain their elevated status. Now, imagine what happens when a narcissist encounters someone who doesn't need their validation, someone who doesn't buy into the illusion of grandeur. It's as though their carefully constructed world begins to crumble. This is the moment of truth, the moment where the narcissist's vulnerabilities are laid bare, and the fallout is often both dramatic and revealing. The encounter. What happens when a narcissist meets someone stronger? When the narcissist encounters someone stronger, someone who is emotionally resilient, self-aware, and immune to manipulation, it is a stark contrast to the world they've built. This stronger individual is not intimidated by the narcissist's charm, not swayed by their lies, and not easily manipulated. But how does the narcissist react to this challenge? In the beginning, they may not even recognize the strength in the other person. Narcissists are typically excellent at reading others and assessing their weaknesses. But when they come across someone who is emotionally grounded, confident in their own identity, and not willing to play the narcissist's games, they can feel disoriented. The first signs of trouble often begin when their usual tactics fail. Narcissists thrive on manipulation, whether it's through charm, guilt-tripping, or emotional coercion. They may try to lure the stronger person in with compliments, flattery, or promises of something they can never deliver. But the stronger person is immune to these tactics. They may politely dismiss these advances, see them for what they are, or outright reject them. For the narcissist, this can feel like an attack, even if the other person remains calm and composed. In these situations, the narcissist's emotional reactions are often telling. They may feel a mixture of anger, confusion, and even humiliation. After all, they're used to being the dominant figure in their relationships, and someone who doesn't respond to their manipulations is a direct threat to their ego and sense of control. The narcissist's responses: escalation, withdrawal, or retaliation. As the stronger individual refuses to play along, the narcissist's emotional reaction can vary. Initially, the narcissist may feel slighted and try to escalate the situation. They may attempt to regain control by increasing their efforts to manipulate or dominate. This can take many forms. They might become more aggressive in their attempts to seek attention, use guilt to try and provoke a response, or even escalate to outright insults or belittling behavior. When these tactics fail, the narcissist may resort to withdrawing or retreating. Narcissists are often skilled at ghosting or becoming emotionally distant when things don't go their way. They may try to create a sense of scarcity, attempting to manipulate the other person into pursuing them or begging for their attention. This is a classic narcissistic response, attempting to play on the other person's emotions and weaken their resolve. But when the other person remains unmoved, this tactic often backfires. For some narcissists, the final resort is retaliation. They may attempt to rally others to their side, turning friends or family members against the stronger individual, using lies, half-truths, or outright manipulations. They might spread rumors or paint themselves as the victim, hoping to provoke sympathy from others and isolate the person who dared to challenge them. In these cases, the narcissist's true nature comes into full view. Their inability to deal with rejection or loss of control leads them to become even more vindictive and malicious. The stronger person's response: standing firm and setting boundaries. What about the person who stands up to the narcissist? The one who isn't swayed by their manipulations or affected by their need for validation. This person, often referred to as emotionally strong, mentally resilient, or simply self-aware, does not give in to the narcissist's tactics. They may not even fully understand the depth of the narcissist's condition, but they know one thing: they won't be manipulated. For someone who is emotionally strong, the key to dealing with a narcissist is setting clear and firm boundaries. They understand the narcissist's behavior is not personal. It's a pattern driven by deep-seated insecurity and an inflated ego. They refuse to get caught up in the drama, the manipulation, or the emotional roller coaster that the narcissist attempts to create. They remain grounded in their own identity, often using humor, assertiveness, or calm indifference to diffuse situations. One of the most important aspects of this dynamic is the way the stronger person maintains their sense of self. Narcissists often try to control others by making them feel small, insignificant, or unsure of themselves. But a person who is emotionally strong knows their worth. They don't need the narcissist's approval, and they aren't afraid to walk away from the relationship if necessary. This confidence and self-assurance are like kryptonite to the narcissist. It disrupts their whole world and leaves them scrambling to regain control. The narcissist's crisis: a moment of self-reflection or escalation. At some point, the narcissist must face the uncomfortable truth: they cannot control this person. They cannot manipulate or dominate them the way they've done with others. This creates a moment of crisis for the narcissist, as their entire identity is often built on their ability to control others and remain the central figure in their narrative. This moment of crisis can go two ways. Some narcissists may experience a brief moment of self-reflection, realizing that their tactics have failed. They may even recognize that they cannot always manipulate everyone they meet. However, this realization is usually fleeting. Narcissists are rarely open to true self-awareness because it threatens their carefully constructed sense of superiority. They are more likely to retreat or escalate, becoming increasingly angry or vindictive as their control slips further away. Other narcissists may simply refuse to acknowledge their failure, doubling down on their manipulative tactics or trying to rally support from others. This is when the stronger person's ability to remain emotionally detached becomes crucial. The narcissist's behavior can be hurtful, manipulative, and exhausting, but someone who is emotionally strong knows not to take it personally. They recognize that the narcissist's actions are rooted in their own insecurities, not the other person's worth. The aftermath: empowerment or exhaustion. In the aftermath of this encounter, both parties will likely experience significant change. For the narcissist, the encounter may feel like a loss of power, and they may seek new ways to regain control. They may move on to new targets, or they may attempt to reassert themselves in old relationships. For the stronger individual, the experience can be both empowering and exhausting. On one hand, standing up to a narcissist can reaffirm their strength, their boundaries, and their ability to navigate difficult emotional terrain. But it can also be draining, as the narcissist's behavior often continues to escalate as they struggle with the loss of control. Ultimately, the narcissist's encounter with someone stronger serves as a reminder that narcissists are often driven by deep-seated insecurity. While they can be incredibly manipulative and toxic, their control over others is fragile. When faced with someone who refuses to be manipulated, they are forced to confront their own vulnerabilities. Whether they change, adapt, or simply move on, the encounter can be a turning point, both for the narcissist and for the stronger person. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of the dynamic between narcissists and emotionally strong individuals. If you found this discussion valuable, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with narcissism. Leave a comment below, and let's keep the conversation going. Why narcissists are insecure and will continue to be hated by everyone. Have you ever met someone who seems perfect on the outside, charismatic, confident, and seemingly flawless? But once you get closer, you start noticing something isn't quite right. They constantly fish for compliments, belittle others to elevate themselves, and seem to crumble at the slightest criticism. The truth is, this person is likely a narcissist. What you might not know is that beneath that polished exterior, narcissists are deeply insecure. And their insecurity, combined with their toxic behavior, is the very reason why they are, and will continue to be hated by everyone. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but the reality is that narcissists, despite their seeming self-assuredness, are haunted by profound insecurities. These insecurities dictate their every action and cause them to manipulate, control, and emotionally harm those around them. As we dive deeper into this topic, you'll start to understand why narcissists are doomed to fail in meaningful relationships, and why they often end up alienating everyone they encounter. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you find this content valuable, please don't forget to like and share it. The more people who understand narcissism, the more we can protect ourselves and our loved ones from the destructive forces of narcissistic behavior. Narcissists are often the life of the party, the ones who grab the most attention, and who seem to walk with an aura of superiority. They have a knack for making everyone believe they're special. But underneath all that bravado is a person who is constantly battling feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. This disconnect between the image they project and the insecurity they feel is the root of their narcissistic behavior. It's easy to assume that narcissists are arrogant or self-absorbed, but the truth is far more complicated. Their behavior is a defense mechanism, a way to shield themselves from their inner vulnerability. At its core, narcissism is a condition fueled by a deep and pervasive insecurity. Narcissists feel like they are never truly enough, no matter how much external validation they receive. This constant need for admiration stems from a fragile self-image, one that can easily shatter if it isn't constantly reinforced by praise, attention, and adoration. Their inflated sense of self-worth isn't a reflection of genuine confidence. It's a mask, a coping mechanism to avoid confronting their insecurities. Think about it for a moment. If a person were genuinely secure in themselves, they wouldn't need to seek constant validation. They wouldn't need to belittle others or inflate their accomplishments to feel good about who they are. Narcissists crave praise not because they believe they're inherently amazing, but because it fills the void of their self-doubt. The more compliments they receive, the more they temporarily feel a sense of worth. But this is a fragile foundation, one that requires constant upkeep. This is why narcissists often become irritable, defensive, or even vengeful when they don't receive the attention they feel they deserve. Their entire sense of identity is built on the approval of others, so when that approval is withdrawn, their world crumbles. This leads them to lash out, manipulate, or even punish those who withhold validation. The insecurity they hide beneath the surface is so deeply embedded that it governs their actions in every interaction. But here's the harsh reality: no matter how much admiration they receive, it will never be enough to silence the voice of insecurity inside them. Narcissists' deep insecurity manifests itself in various destructive ways. For example, they are often highly sensitive to criticism, even when it's constructive. A small comment about their behavior or appearance can feel like an emotional attack to them. Because their self-worth is so fragile, they can't handle the smallest amount of negative feedback. And when they do receive criticism, instead of reflecting on it or improving, they react with hostility, denial, or even anger. They may try to shift the blame onto others, or use manipulative tactics like gaslighting to make you question your perception of reality. This defensiveness is rooted in their fear of being exposed as inadequate. A narcissist's worst nightmare is being seen for who they truly are, a person with deep vulnerabilities, self-doubt, and an insatiable need for external validation. In order to maintain their illusion of perfection, they will go to great lengths to destroy anyone or anything that threatens their image. This often includes undermining others, demeaning them, or even sabotaging their relationships. If a narcissist feels like someone else is getting more attention or validation, they may resort to backhanded compliments, passive-aggressive comments, or even outright sabotage to regain their sense of superiority. The narcissist's constant need for validation and admiration becomes a toxic cycle. They are never truly satisfied with the attention they receive, and this creates an endless hunger for more. But the more they feed this hunger, the emptier they feel inside. Narcissists are never content with their accomplishments because they're always seeking something outside themselves to fill the void within. They are trapped in a never-ending pursuit of validation.